Thanks for joining us for another episode of Inside Franklin and Marshall Wrestling. I'm Brad Weltman here for GoDiplomats.com. Joined as always by Franklin and Marshall head wrestling coach Mike Rogers, and we've got special guest assistant coach Mike Childs here with us. Thanks a lot for sitting down here with us, guys. Always appreciate it. So let's talk about Nittany Lion Open from Sunday a little bit. Rick went 7-1. He started out with 3 pins. Started pretty strong, and eventually reached third place match where he took down the bracket's number 2 wrestler, Jared Prince of Navy. So we talked a little bit about last week how he needed 3 wins to break the wins record, and he obviously got past that and what all that would mean for the program. So just talk a little bit about his performance and how he looked on Sunday.
I'd have to say Rick probably looked as close as to what he's been capable of doing the first time this whole season. He goes out there and he likes to score a lot of points and dominate the matches when he can and open matches up. And he, his first 3 matches, maybe 4 matches, he was attack pin and he was looking really good and went deep in the tournament and wrestled really well. He's gotten back to his offense, gotten back to his style of wrestling. We adjusted his weight, his diet. Coach Childs did a great job of kind of evaluating some of the stuff he was eating, how he was eating. And I think he's back on track. He's still not 100% where he should be, but we don't want him 100% yet anyways, But he's definitely moving in the right direction, definitely wrestling at another level, the level that he's used to being at. And I think he's starting to feel more comfortable at 41 now than he has all season. And he had a great match against Jared Prince as a kid who beat him out at Navy, a kid from Navy that beat him out at Binghamton. So that was a good match to kind of get some redemption, and he kind of knew how to make the adjustments. So I think that gave him some confidence coming off the mat, and I think it's kind of set the tone, for going to Midlands in the rest of the season.
Yeah, and then one of your strongest performers over the last couple of weeks has been Antonio Paluzzi at 285. He did another strong tournament on Sunday. He went 5-2, eventually took 5th place. He opened with a first round loss and really responded. So just talk about his performance a little bit.
Yeah, his first round loss was to Ohio State kid that eventually won the tournament. So, and it was 4-2 up until the last 30 seconds, and he had to take a shot, ended up losing 6-2. So, against the kid that was a 4-time PA state champ and, wrestling Ohio State, he opened up with a tough match, and that's a long day. Some kids kind of cash it in and look at the brackets and say, wow, I got to win X amount of matches to come back. And he did a great job of, taking that loss and then working his way back through the tournament. And, like I said this before last week, that, Coach Borges is doing a good job working with him one-on-one and starting to figure out his offense. He knows where he feels comfortable. He goes out there with a game plan. He knows where he can counter. He's a really good counter shot and really good putting 2-3 shots together now. Great off the bottom. Biggest thing that we got to work with him now is just getting some riding time, holding those big guys down. But yeah, we're really pleased with him. So it's kind of nice and having Rick kind of down low at 41, and then Paluzzi at heavyweight, kind of anchoring the team now. So he's we always look for those guys that kind of start rising to the top, and Paluzzi's one of those guys that's starting to rise to the top and competing at another level now.
Yeah, a few of your middleweights look good too. Patty Quinlan had a few wins. Brangie Vanetti wrestled well. David Brennan. So who else? Did those guys kind of stand out?
Yeah, all those guys. Getting some wins at that tournament is a huge advantage. It's a tough tournament. Every match is tough. So, those guys are looking good. And it was a good experience for some of the younger guys that didn't win any matches, but to wrestle in that environment, in that at Penn State against some of the top-notch teams in the country at their weight is just a great experience. And the biggest thing, we keep saying this, is this learning from what they're doing out there. And I think every time we go out, we're getting a little bit better. We're making the adjustments. We're making mistakes, but we're making different ones, and that's what we hope. You're never going to wrestle a perfect match. You're always going to make mistakes, but we're seeing some of the progress in some of the areas that we were concerned about. Some of that's getting off the bottom. Some of that's wrestling through the whole period. And those guys you just mentioned are doing a better job of making the adjustments and correcting some of those mistakes. So, I'm real pleased with everyone's performance in terms of effort. We're still making some of those mistakes. We're giving up big points, waiting too late in the match to go after and being aggressive. But those are all fixable. Those are all things that we can change and improve on.
You got about a 3-week break coming up near the end of the month. You have the Midlands, Northwestern, and then the David H. Lehman F&M Open. So let's start with the Midlands. It's a third straight year you're going to be sending guys out to Northwestern. Last year you had about 5 guys. Where are you at with that? Who do you plan on sending out?
Yeah, we're taking 4 guys this year. So we're taking Scott Stevens at 133, Rick Durso 141, Jason Bing at 149, and Rob King will be out there unattached wrestling for us at 165. All those guys are upperclassmen. I think they're all. I think that's in a good tournament for them to kind of experience. It's as close as to the NCAA tournament as you can get. 2-day tournament, top-notch competition. Every match is going to be a brutal fight. There's no really fluff or easy matches in that tournament. And plus, for guys like Rick and those guys that we're hoping to get out to the NCAA tournament and Bing and those guys is to see some of the teams we don't normally see. We see all the East Coast teams, our conference teams in the Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, but we don't get a chance too often to see the Midwest teams. So like I'm not sure who's there, but Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, some of those teams are out there that we normally don't get a chance to wrestle. So it's going to be a good chance for them to see a different type of wrestling, a different area of wrestling before we get into the heavy part of our dual meet season, January, February.
Yeah, so end of December is going to be a busy time for you guys. That Wednesday, you have the F&M Open. New location this year, new date. So let's start off talking about a little bit of why that tournament started and kind of when it started and just kind of a little bit of the history of it.
The history of it started back. Matt Greenberg and I actually started that tournament. We thought we had a great location, we had a great facility. And we thought there was a need for another tournament like that on the East Coast, and so we started initially was the F&M Open, and we got a good response. I think their first year was like 180, and then the second year was around 325, and I think last year was around 325, 340. So it's been growing. Unfortunately, due to things out of control, construction that's going on in the AFSC, we had to move our date and location, and the only location that we could get relatively close to campus, we had to move the date, which was December 30th, which usually we do the tournament the first weekend after New Year's. So I'm sure that's going to have an impact somewhat, with a lot going on. It's on top of the Midlands, on top of Southern Scuffle, and a few other tournaments going on. But the positive part of it, it's right downtown Marriott, in the Marriott, so you can stay in the hotel, go down the first floor, walk out, and you're right there. You don't have to get in a hotel and drive to a different gym and wrestle. So there's some benefits to it. Being right down in Lancaster is you got a lot of eateries, a lot of places to eat, go out the night before for coaches and athletes. So we're hoping to make it a good event, and we'll see how it goes, and maybe we move it back to campus, and maybe we keep it there. I don't know. But we're looking for it to be another successful event, and we're hoping that we can get a lot of people to come out and wrestle and also come out and watch.
And then Mike Childs, you've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work with this tournament.
Trying to.
So just kind of talk about where you guys are at right now with it.
And one of the new things that we've done this year, we have sponsorship opportunities at multiple levels. We've worked with the Office of Giving, the Giving Office, and they've helped us kind of put this proposal together. We've sent out to a lot of alumni, parents, vendors in the area that we've worked with, and we've received a good response. We're about 30% to our goal with 10 days to go. So we're a lot of phone calls will be made this weekend, or are being made this week and next week to hit those goals. But there's in any tournament, there's a lot of moving parts. So it's as long as we can control what we control, and we'll do the best job we can.
Great. And then just talk a little bit about how people can volunteer and how they can help and kind of get involved with the tournament.
Sure. Contact us in the office. That would be the best way. Because again, if it's sponsorship, if you're willing to help run a table, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So you just let us know what you would like to do, and we have that availability. So.
How important is that help for you guys with how logistically you run the tournament?
To run a great event, you need a lot of help. With 10 mats, that's 3 people per table. That's a 10-hour day. That's a lot of people, and that's what enables a good tournament. So the more help we have, the better it will go. And we've, through Lancaster Alliance Wrestling, our parents last year, a couple local high schools, and Elizabethtown College, they've all helped out in the past, and we have some ins with them now, but we're shoring up those details. But it takes a village.
Kind of some background on you. Your dad, he coached at Drexel for 35 years. You wrestled there with your brother. Just kind of talk about your college experience and what that was like, kind of wrestling under your dad.
It was great. Had to be. I'm still doing it. No, there were some. In any coach-athlete relationship, there's always going to be a learning curve. With Dad and I, it was when it was in the room, he was always coach. Outside of it, he was still sometimes coach. But we have a great relationship. The frustrating part about my college experience was injuries. I mean, I had 3 shoulder operations in 3 years, which effectively ended it. I mean, I was healthy for 1 year, so it was a frustrating road. But I don't know if I had all the success that I had competing. I don't know if I'd still be coaching. So I still have a lot of goals, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work here. This has been a fun 4 years. I've learned a lot, and hopefully I've given back as well. So.
And then with dealing with injuries in college and having things not quite work out the way you want them to, do you offer kind of a unique experience to some of the guys here? When they kind of fall into that.
I think so. I hope so. Division I college wrestling is tough. I think there was a recent study that said it's the hardest sport to do because what you do in competition, it's what we do every day. I mean, that's how you train. You look at MMA, they're not going full fights every day. They can't. That's something that's part of our training.
And wrestling is kind of taking you all over the globe. You lived a year and a half in Scotland. You're a wrestling coach and you manage a training facility over in Glasgow. About 2 summers back, you brought a few F&M wrestlers over there with you. So just kind of go over that experience a little bit.
That was one of the best experiences that I've had so far. The people at that gym, the culture over there, it's a great place. They train really hard, but they're very, very friendly. It's not just all about training. They have, I was training with doctors and lawyers and, very interesting people that had a very funny sense of humor. So they made it was a fun year and a half. And some of them are my best friends. So we still communicate weekly, Snapchat and WhatsApp. We talk frequently. So yeah, it was a great experience, and they always said, if you're always you always have an invitation to come back. And when that opened up last summer, and I offered the guys, they approached me, so I thought that was good. I wasn't asking them to go train; they wanted to do that. So it was a good experience. I think it was. For some of them, they had to get a passport for the first time, and it was fun for them. So it wasn't just all about wrestling and training. It was they were able to see the culture and meet some new people that they maybe wouldn't ever have before. So yeah, it was fun.
All right, well, Mike, thanks a lot for sitting down here with us. Mike, thank you too, as always. And good luck moving forward. Good luck with all your work with the F&M Open. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Be sure to join us next time when we recap the Midlands and the F&M Open.